welcome. Thanks so much for joining us again. And we want to thank you for all the wonderful emails you have sent us with your questions and telling us your stories. Thank you so much. In fact, Rob, I'm going to go straight to some of
Yes,
the
please do.
questions here, if I may. And we have Sarah Gillingham from Chertsey. She writes, recently, Rob, I went to some old ruins very close to my house, and I have had the strangest feeling that I have picked something up. Is it possible that because I went somewhere old, that I could have picked up a ghost? I have felt things in my house. I feel like I'm being watched, and I just have a very uneasy feeling. Am I going crazy? From Sarah in Chertsey. Thank you, Sarah, for that. So,
Well, these things are possible, but they're very unlikely, is the main thing. You get a lot of people who will visit an old place, a castle, or anything else. And because of you can be sensitive, you can pick up all sorts of things there, but that doesn't mean anything's coming back with you. After saying that, I can only talk about things that I have dealt with. And one young lady did go to Auschwitz, and when she came back again, she did have a child in her bedroom with her. I was called to this, and that was fine. I sorted it out. So, in theory, it's possible, and it can happen. And what people don't realise is places like Auschwitz, where people are, absolutely awful and dreadful. Often, when they die there, they don't know that they're dead. They're still living in the horror that they were before.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
So it goes on and on. And in that particular situation I was talking about, a beautiful child goes to Auschwitz, and a child that has been there for decades linked onto it and came back. The point is, there's no problem with that whatever, because the end result is the child that was in Auschwitz has been moved on. That's the end result. That's what matters. The young lady that went there, there's no problem with her at all. The situation was sorted out. But this is very, very unusual. A lot of the time, people have seen too many horror stories on television and they presume it can take place. So it can, but it's very unusual.
Okay. Okay, Sarah, so hopefully that's a little encouraging for you. And then I just add to that, Rob, because we've had a few more emails about this. John O'Keefe from Newcastle has had, it seems, dear Rob, I have had such a strange situation where I feel like someone is around me and it's terrifying me. I'm not usually scared of these kind of things, but I really think there's something near me and I don't know whether it's evil or bad or whatever. What should I do? Can I help in any way, or do I need to get some help, some professional help? That's from John O'Keefe up in Newcastle.
This is very common, and it can be several different things. The most common situation when this takes place is as people grow older, they often become more sensitive. So one of the most common things that can take place is you start sensing your relatives. You start sensing your loved ones around you. But if you've never sensed this before, then as his question, it can be a very odd situation. You can start to worry about it. The first thing to do really is to pray and ask for your loved ones to draw close and ask for protection. And it may be as simple as that, as all you need to do. In theory, the normal situation where you get a ghost is a spirit which is staying in one location. If there is a ghost in a house, for example, and a ghost is someone like you and me, there's no need to get carried away what they are. It's just someone who's chosen not to move on. Sometimes when there's in a house, no one senses that they're there whatsoever, but then they make alterations to the house, which the person or the ghost who used to live there, who is there, doesn't like it, and they start to sense them.
Right, like act up or whatever.
Yeah, it just they can get a bit annoyed, and people can pick it up. In that sort of situation, they contact someone like me, and it's very easy for me in most situations to move them on. But it can simply be that they're getting more sensitive, so they are picking things up. And when you've never picked anything up before, it's shocking. It is scary. Once you realise that it is your relatives, in most cases, and everything's fine, then you'll just live with it and you won't have a problem. But if they're very worried, they do need to talk to someone like me, and we can sort out what's going on.
Okay. So in that case, you mentioned before when we were talking about Sarah's question, some ghosts don't know that they're dead.
Most don't.
Most don't.
So to get in perspective what a ghost is, which is probably the most important thing, when you die, everybody presumes you immediately go to heaven and everything's perfect. It's not like that. The average person, yes, they do go to heaven. Heaven being many different places over there, depending how you lived your life, is where you go. There are millions of souls that when they've died have chosen not to move on because we have free will. So there are millions of souls wandering the earth plane, and they don't want to move on at the moment. That does not mean they're all evil whatsoever.
Right.
They have just chosen to do that. And you wouldn't really categorize them as ghosts as such. I mean, as we sit here doing the talk, your friends and loved ones will be around you, mine will be around you. There's wandering spirits, there's these millions of souls who haven't moved on. That doesn't mean any of these are a problem or what you would classify as a ghost. A ghost is basically a soul who has lived in a house or lived in a place, or they've died in a certain place, and they don't really, in most cases, 90% of the ones that I move on, they are confused. They sometimes they know they're dead, but they don't want to move on, but there's something keeping them in a certain house or a certain place, and they don't want to leave. A lot of them do not know they're dead, they don't know they've passed, they're totally confused to what's going on. And that's when you need someone like myself who can sort out the situation, and basically you create a situation so then they're using their own free will, and then they move on, and then they never come back.
So if someone is in this life and they know that there's a hereafter, they know that there's an afterlife, are they less likely to be stuck, if you like?
Yes.
Yeah.
If it doesn't mean it doesn't matter what religion or anything else, if you've got no beliefs whatsoever, it's no problem at all. But if your mind is open that there could be an afterlife, it's simple things. When you look at photographs of relatives and things, and you sense them drawing close to you, that is your proof there's an afterlife. If you get a message, go to a spiritualist church or you go for a reading, they can give you proof of the afterlife. The point is, then your mind is open to it. When your mind is open to it and you come to the end of your life here, you tend to move on. You tend to have no problem whatsoever.
Right.
So it's just having an open mind is the critical thing about it.
Right, and if you're stuck and you don't understand, yes, all right, I think we're almost out of time, guys. So we've got to go, but we want to thank you. Please keep your questions coming, and please keep telling us your stories because we love to read them. Sorry we can't get back to everyone. I want to thank Rob. We will see you next time. Be good to yourself.